Hi, it's Kyle from Bitewing Games, and today we're learning how to play Manatee Sanctuary from Warped Reality Games. The point of the game is to win, and you win by having the most points. Points are earned each round for the manatees you have attracted to your sanctuary. But to keep manatees there, you need to make sure you have room and can feed them. So you'll need to expand your habitat, creating space and food. Let's take a look at the setup. Place the game board in the center of the table. Place the round marker on the 1 space. For the first round, you'll pass cards clockwise, so place the marker pointing clockwise. Shuffle the sanctuary deck and place it next to the board. Put all the manatees in the bag and give it a little shaky shake. Each player takes a player board and a starting tile. Each player selects a color and takes the score marker, flower marker, food markers, and 50/100 point marker. Place your flower marker on the 0 space and your food markers here on the 0 spaces. Place your score marker on the 10-point space of the main board. Place the 50-point markers on the board here. If you exceed 50 points, you'll take that marker and keep moving around the track. The game is played over 3 rounds. Each round you're going to draft cards, play the cards, either taking the action or expanding your habitat. You will also feed your manatees, and then you're going to score. Do that 3 times, and that's going to be the game. So first thing, let's look at drafting. Deal 5 sanctuary cards to each player. Simultaneously look at your cards and split the cards into 2 stacks. You choose how to split them. These dots show the relative strength of the cards, so it can be a good idea to keep the 2 piles relatively equal in dots. Simultaneously pass both stacks to the player to your left. Look at the cards that you were just passed. Choose 1 stack to keep and 1 stack to return. Once all players have made their selections, pass the stack to return back to the player to your right. Players will now simultaneously play their cards. Each card has 2 halves to it. The top half is for actions. The bottom half is to expand. You can expand your habitat by placing your card underneath an existing card, like so. Flowers have to match up. You can't wall off half a flower, and the top half of the card has to be placed below an existing card. And that's basically it for placement rules. As soon as you've placed a card, move up the completed flower track, 1 space for each completed flower. You'll also gain 1 food for each flower you just completed. These cards show a number, stating how much space is provided by this card. This is a habitat size of 5. There are 3 different types of manatees. Each of them will eat a different amount, and each of them will require a different amount of space. I'll go over that in just a minute. Some of the habitat cards won't show a number, meaning they don't provide habitat space, but rather they give you points somehow, like this one. 3 points for each yellow manatee at the end of the game. But what about the tops of the cards? Well, those are the actions. So instead of playing a card to expand your habitat, you can play it for its action. Place the cards here that you'll be using as action cards. The action cards will often tell you to take manatees. So this card says, search the bag and find a yellow manatee. This one, find a pink manatee. This one tells you to randomly draw 3 manatees from the bag. Place any of your drawn manatees here. Let's pause really quick here and look at the manatees, because they're all a little bit different, even in how many there are in the bag. There are 80 gray, 30 pink, and 20 yellow manatees. The gray manatees take up 1 habitat space and require 1 food. The pink take up 1 habitat space, but require 2 food. The yellow take up 2 habitat spaces and require 1 food. Let's jump back to the cards. And I will note that all players are doing these things simultaneously. So you'll play 1 card and expand your habitat, play another card and expand your habitat, play a card for an action, and you'll complete each card one after another, but everyone's doing it at the same time. So we'd placed this card here, drawing 3 random manatees. The 2 grays take up 1 space, and the yellow takes up 2 spaces. They could all fit on this card, or you could split them up. And you can arrange your manatees at any point, as long as you have room for them. What if you don't have room? Well, thematically, I don't really want to think about what that means, but shame, shame. In the game, what it means is you have to return those manatees that you can't place into your habitat back to the bag, and you'll lose 2 points per manatee that you have to return. You choose which manatee returns, but it does have to be from the manatees you are just now adding, not from manatees already in your habitat. Another thing I'll note is that the yellow manatees are very friendly and like to bring in more friends. Each time you draw manatees from the bag, you'll draw one additional manatee for every yellow manatee that you have in your habitat. So this card has you draw a pink manatee from the bag. But since you have 2 yellow manatees, you'll also draw 2 random manatees from the bag. This yellow symbol reminds you to look for yellow manatees when drawing from the bag. The other action you may see here is harvest. That basically means you count up how many complete flowers you have and gain that much food. And that's where this tracker comes in handy. If you update this tracker each time you complete a flower, you can just add that much food to your food tracker. So this card will earn me 4 food, which I track here. Let's say I play this card next. This says I get to harvest 2 times, so I get 8 more food, moving my tracker to the 12. After all players have placed all of their cards out, it's time to feed. Remember, yellow and gray need 1 food, and pink needs 2 food. In this example, I would need 1 food for my yellow manatee, 2 food for my pink, and a total of 4 food for my 4 gray manatees. If you can't feed all of your manatees, you'll have to return some of them to the bag until you have enough food to feed all the manatees, again losing 2 points for each manatee you return to the bag. I luckily have enough food, so I will spend 7 food and move my tracker from 12 to 5. Players all feed simultaneously, and now we'll move on to scoring. During the first round, yellow and gray will score 3 points apiece, while pink scores 6. After rounds 2 and 3, the manatees will be worth less. After each round, move the round tracker to the next round, flipping the direction you'll pass your cards when drafting. After 3 rounds, move on to final scoring. Final scoring is just scoring for any habitat cards which award points for manatees you've collected. And that's the game. You can choose to play with round bonuses, which provide an additional way to score each round. Choose 3 random cards and find the number that matches the round you're playing with, slotting that card in. When scoring for manatees each round, score additional points for the bonus objectives. There'll be things like points for specific manatees, for completed flowers, for excess food, or for having a specific shape in your habitat. And now you know how to play Manatee Sanctuary. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. Until next time.